This video is about the thesis statement in an essay. American-style essays are linear in organization. Linear means like a line. They start at the beginning, go on to the middle, and then go to the end. Like a line. Oh, let's move this window a little out of the way here. How's that? All right. The shape of the essay. Well, an essay is, like I said, is like an arrow or like a line. It starts at the beginning, and the beginning is the introduction or the introductory paragraph. The introductory paragraph ends with this statement that we call a thesis statement. Then come the body paragraphs, body paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And the last paragraph is a concluding paragraph. And this is normally we will have 3 body paragraphs, could be 2, could be 4. But the 5-paragraph essay is composed of an introductory paragraph, 3 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. So there are 2 parts to a thesis statement. Let's say, for example, that you're going to be writing an essay about architecture or buildings. Well, that will be the topic of your essay. So there's a topic to the essay: architecture, buildings, old buildings, new buildings, whatever. And then there's a controlling idea: what you're going to say about that topic, what your point is about that topic. Because of course there could be 1,000 different things you could write about when it comes to buildings or architecture. Here are some examples. For example, you can say, the buildings in my hometown, that's your topic, can be divided into those built before the war and those built after the war. That's your controlling idea, that you're dividing them into those built before the war and those that are built after the war. That's one controlling idea. Could be lots of others. Here's another one. The city center of my hometown, that's the topic, is proud of its well-preserved ancient architecture. So being proud of its well-preserved ancient architecture, that's your controlling idea in this essay. Or architects from all over the world, let's move this video out of the way a little bit, come to study the designs of the bridges in my hometown because they are both functional and beautiful. So because they are both functional and beautiful, that's your controlling idea. Now, some thesis statements include a predictor. Make this a little bit smaller so you can see it. Some thesis statements include a predictor. A predictor is a statement that predicts or tells you what's going to come. So then the thesis statement consists of 3 parts: a topic, let's say architecture, a controlling idea, what you're going to say about it, and the predictor is the basic division of your essay. For example, you divide it into 3 parts, such as in one of those examples we said we can divide it into that architecture before the war and after the war. Well, that's a predictor. It tells you that there are going to be 2 main body paragraphs in this essay. Now let's add a predictor to a sentence. For example, here we go. The city center of my hometown, that's your topic, is proud of its well-preserved ancient buildings. That's your controlling idea. And then you add the reasons why. Due to their pleasing dimensions, their building materials, and their religious functions. When you have a predictor in a thesis statement, that organizes your essay for you. And in this one, I can tell there's going to be 3 main body paragraphs before the concluding paragraph. Now, here are a few important statements and rules, in a way, about thesis statements. The first one is, a thesis statement is a statement. It's not a question. You can't use a question as a thesis statement in traditional American essays. So you can't, for example, say, is architecture important as your thesis statement? You can use architecture is important because of this or that. That can be a thesis statement. But you can't use a question. A second point is a thesis statement is a complete sentence. It's not a fragment. So I put in some fragments of glass. It's not a fragment. It's not just a few words. The topic of your thesis statement is very frequently the same as your title, but your topic sentence must be a complete sentence. For example, I can say, the city center of my hometown is proud of its well-preserved ancient architecture. The city center of my hometown, that's your subject, is the verb with a tense. And then proud of its well-preserved ancient architecture, that's your object. So it's a complete sentence, subject and object, capital letter in the beginning, period at the end. Another rule about thesis statements is that a thesis statement must be arguable, something we can argue about. It cannot just be a statement of fact, such as the world is round or my cousin is tall. Those are facts. You can't write an entire essay about a fact. You can say some people believe that the world is flat. Now that's different and we can argue about it. But the world is round is just a statement of fact. Here's another one. A thesis statement cannot be an announcement. What's an announcement? Well, an announcement is when you're trying to speak out about something. For example, if you say, I'm going to be writing about ancient architecture, or I'm going to tell you about my mother. That's an announcement. That's not a thesis statement. In a thesis statement, you must say the topic, my mother, and then was a wonderful person. Okay, that's what you're going to say about it. And now you're going to be arguing and showing me examples of why your mother was a wonderful person. So the big question I guess you can say is, why do we need thesis statements at all? What's the use of thesis statements? Well, like I said in the beginning, American essays are very linear, very organized. You go from the beginning, the thesis statement, the support and the body paragraphs, and to the conclusion. Now, it's quite true that this is only one style of essay organization in this country. Now, if you were a fantastic essay writer or essayist, as we say, like, for example, Mark Twain, whose real name was Samuel Clemens, he doesn't need to use thesis statements. Those thesis statements that he uses are implied. They're not actually written in there. And that's perfectly okay when you're a fantastic essayist like Mark Twain. Now, you and I, we're probably not quite so good. So given that, I do think we need to use a thesis statement. And all your professors at an academic university, college, is going to expect that. So that was my little review of thesis statements. I hope you enjoyed it.